Today I'm going to teach you how to drive a manual. First, make sure you're wearing comfortable, tight-fitting shoes like sneakers or running shoes. If you wear boots or sandals or stilettos, it's going to make it a lot more difficult. Next, find yourself a quiet, open area to practice in. A big open lot at a park, a high school parking lot during the weekends, or even a Walmart parking lot. Something where people aren't going to be getting in your way and you can get up to about 20 to 30 miles an hour. As silly as it sounds, confidence is important. Remember, if a 100-year-old grandma in Italy can do it, so can you. It just takes a little practice. Now it's time to familiarize yourself with some of the differences between an automatic and a manual car. Right away, you'll notice there are 3 pedals. We've got the brake and the gas, same as an automatic car, and over to the left, the clutch pedal. The only thing new here is the clutch pedal, which you use to change gear. So practice pressing the clutch in and out a bunch of different times to start getting a feel for what that's like. You use your left foot for the clutch, so practice pushing it all the way down and all the way up, all the way down and all the way up. You'll notice when you depress the clutch a bunch of times, at a certain point in that travel, it actually pushes a little bit harder back against your leg. This is called the bite point, and it's really important for later on in the video. If you've got a new clutch, it could be towards the bottom of the throw near the floor. If you've got a really used clutch, it could be towards the top of the throw, but push the clutch pedal in and out enough times so you can feel where it starts to push a little harder against your leg. You use this gear shifter to change gears, whether it be reverse or first, second, third, etc. Usually on most shift knobs, they've actually got writing on the top of the knob to let you know exactly where first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and reverse are located. Usually in most cars, first gear is left and upwards. Now, to get into neutral, which is important, there's 2 different things you can do. One is you can be in any gear and depress the clutch all the way down. That puts the car into neutral. But the second way is this. Neutral is actually in the center of all the gears. So if you practice shifting through the gears, you'll notice in the middle, you can wiggle the gear shifter left and to the right. Whereas if you're in first gear, it doesn't really move whatsoever. Once you're in the middle and you can have some play in the gear shifter, which is kind of fun, you're in neutral. In order to shift gears, you have to press in the clutch. Essentially, the clutch disengages the engine from the transmission. You don't have to know exactly how a car works, but a basic understanding of what the clutch actually is helps in driving a manual. So the first thing to do is practice driving a manual without actually moving and with the car off. So put the clutch in with your left foot, take your right hand, push it slightly to the left and up, if that's where first gear is in your car. Then once it's in first gear, release the clutch. Then push the clutch back in, pull it back into second, and release the clutch. Once again, clutch back in, up into third, release, press the clutch, down to fourth, release. Honestly, practice that as many times as you can. It's a little bit boring, but building that muscle memory, going into gear, pressing the clutch, releasing the clutch is going to be really helpful in the future. Here comes the fun part. Going from a standstill to actually moving. Finally driving a manual transmission car for the first time. This is also the most difficult part. So don't get discouraged. It's very likely you'll stall a bunch of times. Don't be embarrassed. It's totally normal. When I learned how to drive a manual, I stalled a bunch. However, using some techniques I've learned over the years, you should be able to master this a lot quicker than you think. One of the most important parts is the bite point. Remember when I was talking about the clutch where it pushes a little bit harder against your leg than the rest of the clutch throw? That's going to be really, really crucial. Now, to turn on most manual transmission cars, you have to push the clutch in. It's just a safety feature. Then either turn the key or hit that start-stop button and fire on the engine. Next, make sure everything is clear around you so it's a low stress environment. Put the car into first gear to the left and forward, and we're about to take off. So most people, when they stall a manual transmission car, they release the clutch too quickly during the bite point. The most crucial point of going slow is that part where you can feel it push against your leg. Now, the general theory behind driving a manual car, there's 2 different ones. One is to release the clutch really, really slowly, and then the car starts moving forward. The other is to release the clutch really slowly as you give it a little bit of gas with your right foot.
Floor it?
Yes. No, no, don't floor it.
Floor it?
No, 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 don't floor it.
Okay, floor it!
No!
I like this technique better. I think it makes it a little bit easier to take away. So essentially, you're releasing the clutch foot as you give it a little bit of gas. Where I see a lot of people struggle is they release the clutch, they're giving it gas, and as they get to the bite point, they've already let off the gas for whatever reason because they thought they've pressed it. It's really crucial to be applying a slight amount of gas as you're going through that bite point. You're in first gear. You're gonna release that clutch slowly. As you feel it get stiffer against your leg, feed a little bit of gas in, and off we go. And then push the clutch back in to go into neutral, press the brake, and come to a stop. Practice that as many times as you can, just going from a standstill to rolling forward, because that is the hardest part. Also, do this on a flat area so you don't have to worry about rolling backwards and forwards with the brake. So once again, we're in first gear. We're going to release the clutch slowly as we feed in a little gas with the right foot. Release the clutch slowly, give it a little gas as you feel that bite point, and take off. Let's try this a couple more times until you're comfortable. Foot on the clutch, put the car into first gear. Give it a teeny bit of gas as you release that clutch pedal, really slow when you feel it pushing against your leg harder, and off you go. Then on the brake and push the clutch in. If you don't push the clutch in when you come to a stop, I'll show you what happens. You're going forward, you hit the brake, and the car stalls. If it stalls, not a big deal whatsoever. Foot on the clutch again, turn the car back on, and you're good to go. Well, congrats. If you've gotten the car to successfully move forward into first gear, you've completed by far the hardest part of driving a manual. So you want to go a little bit faster. Now what do? Well, to shift gears, you put your foot on the clutch, pull it in a second, release the clutch, and then get back on the gas. To go into third, it's the same thing. We're in second right now. We want to go a little bit faster. Put your foot on the clutch, into third, release the clutch, and then back on the gas. So how do you know when to shift gears? Well, you look at your tachometer. There's a speedometer and a tachometer. The speedometer obviously has different speeds, and the tachometer has RPMs that your engine is spinning. There'll be a little red line at the end of that. Most likely it's going to be a circular shaped, like a clock. This Lotus is a little bit different. It's horizontal, but most of the times it's a circular dial. The red line is the maximum speed your engine can turn over before it starts to cause damage. But don't worry, there's a built-in safety where if you get to that red line, it'll cut fuel so you don't explode the motor. But you only actually get to the red line if you're drag racing or racing on a racetrack. That's gonna give you horrible fuel economy, and you're gonna sound like a jerk in normal driving. So when do you shift? Try shifting gears between 2,500 and 3,000 RPMs, or to make it a bit easier, between 2,000 and 3,000 RPMs. It's not an exact science, that just gives you a little bit better fuel economy, and it's enough RPMs so you can shift into the next gear without stalling the car. So let's practice. You're rolling in first gear, 2,500 RPM, clutch in, shift into second, clutch out. We're in second gear now, 2,500 RPM, let off the gas, clutch in, third gear, clutch out, and then back on the gas. Now, in an additional video, I'll describe downshifting. That's where you go backwards through the gears. Let's say you're on the highway and you're coming to an off ramp and you want to go from 6th gear to 5th gear to 4th gear to 3rd gear to 2nd gear and then to a stop. But to make this really, really easy for you, in this video, I'm gonna show you a technique to come to a stop without having to downshift and rev match, which is a more advanced technique. Let's say you're in 3rd gear and we're approaching a stop sign. In order to slow down, as you get slower and slower, go ahead and put the clutch in, pull the car into neutral, then you can release the clutch and you're on the brake. Now to start rolling again, clutch in, 1st gear, clutch out as you give it a little gas, and you're rolling. Get to 2,500 RPM, clutch in, shift, clutch out, accelerate. Now we're coming to a stop. Go ahead, push the clutch in, put it in neutral, foot on the brake, and come to a stop. Obviously, if you're just borrowing a friend's vehicle and using it once a month to practice, it is going to take longer to learn. Honestly, my advice is if you're in the market for a new car, buy a manual transmission vehicle and just start learning. If you're driving it every single day, yes, you're gonna be struggling at first. It's the same thing that happened with me. I bought a BMW M5 in a manual, didn't really know how to drive, but within a week, it was basically second nature. So there you guys have it. That's how to drive a manual transmission vehicle. I hope you found this video informative. If you did, leave a like. Please subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna be doing additional how to drive a manual videos soon. All right, guys, see you next video.